Are you blaming him for what happened?
What I'm saying is that he instigated this small altercation. It was him in the European Parliament in the meeting of the MEPs that said to me, "Let's take this outside the room, mano a mano."
Stephen Woolfe had a different recollection in the Daily Mail today. He said Mike Hookem, quote, "came at me and landed a blow." Why is he saying that? You're saying there was no pushing. He's saying that you landed a blow.
That is a complete lie. That never happened. There was no blows that landed. There was no punches landed. I never landed a punch on him. He never landed a punch on me. It just did not happen. It is fantasy.
So Stephen Woolfe is a liar now, you're saying? I thought you'd extended the hands of friendship to each other.
Well, I emailed him back this morning after I received the email, and I said that I'd prepared to meet with him, speak with him, shake his hand, and you know that would be the end of the whole incident. But what I'm hearing now that things are getting worse, and he's accusing me of more things. And I'm saying to you, the truth of this is that there was an altercation in an outside room, and there was no blows landed whatsoever. I never punched Stephen Woolfe.
Mr. Hookem, if you're saying there was no pushing, why today have you described what happened variously as, quote, a tussle? You've described it as handbags at dawn. You've described it as girl on girl. All of these things imply that there was some physical contact, doesn't it?
There was. He said, "Let's go check this out outside the room, mano a mano." We both went into that room. There was a bit of a tussle. That's all it was. It lasted a couple of seconds. There was no punching, no pushing, no slapped faces. There was nothing. There was no punching, and I need to get that across as strong as possible. I'm saying there was no punches landed.
But was there pushing?
No, there wasn't any pushing. I'm saying there was no pushing, no slapping.
But how can you have a tussle if there's no pushing, Mr. Hookem? How can there be pushing and it not be a tussle?
You can have a tussle. You can have a tussle between two of you. You know, getting your arms and getting hold of each other, but not pushing. There was no pushing whatsoever. I never pushed Stephen Woolfe. Whatever happened after that event in the Parliament, I'd already left the Parliament by then. I'm saying it had nothing whatsoever to do with me.
It sounds like the acrimony between you is building after a few gestures from both of you. You say you're going to meet him. What's that going to be like? I mean, you now seem to be accusing, well, you've said he's a liar.
Well, I'm hearing this. I'm not hearing it from Steve. If Steve wants to tell me he hasn't said that, well, fair enough. I'm hearing this from the media. You know, I'm not hearing it from Steve himself. It's in the papers, whatever, but I need Stephen to say that to my face. And if he is saying that, I'm saying, yes, he's a liar.
Do you think the police should investigate this?
This was an altercation of 2 or 3 seconds. Nobody was injured, nobody was hurt. Stephen Woolfe left that room unhurt. There was no marks on his face, there was no marks on my hands. I never punched Stephen Woolfe.
And you're saying you fell backwards, that caused this bleed on the brain that he had. He fell back through a door.
I'm not saying what caused his bleed on his brain. If that happened, I'm not a doctor. I never pushed him. He fell backwards through a door onto an MEP, a male MEP that was stood inside the doorway. I never saw him hit his head on anything. He never stood up and said, "I've hurt my head, I've hit my head." He said nothing. He left that meeting sound and there was no marks or anything. He complained of nothing. What happened later on in the day, I have no knowledge of, because it had nothing whatsoever to do with me. I was not in that Parliament.
Mr. Woolfe's going to give his side of the story in due course. Just finally, Nigel Farage has said this makes UKIP look violent. What does this say to your potential voters, Mr. Hookem?
Look, this was a silly incident, a heated debate between colleagues, and it got out of hand. It should never have got to that stage. I apologise for that. I'm sorry for that. I feel ashamed of that. But what I'm stating now is I never instigated it. I never punched Stephen Woolfe.
Mike Hookem, thank you very much indeed for that.